the weirdest babysitting jobs I ever had. Story time. In 2013, I had ads up everywhere offering babysitting services along with being a live-in nanny. I get an email from a woman named Laura who says she needs a full-time babysitter for 3 kids who are aged 8, 5, and 3 years old. I go over there to meet her and the kids, and she introduced herself as Christine, not Laura. She said she used a fake name for privacy reasons. The first week I started, I noticed that Christine didn't leave to go to work. She actually stayed there at the house with me and the kids. She spent all her time taking care of the kids, even though she had hired me to babysit. And it was weird, but I didn't say anything because I'm getting paid either way, so it didn't bother me. But I started to notice some weird things about these kids, like when I would call them by their name, they would not acknowledge me. They would not turn around. Hey, Bobby, you want something to eat? He would not look at me like they didn't know their own names. She did not allow the kids to go outside at all. Not together, not with an adult, not alone. They could not go outside. I thought that was really weird, but these are not my kids, so I followed the rules. By the second or third week of her hiring me, she wants me to go to Walmart with her and the kids and help her keep an eye on them while she's shopping. I noticed before we left, she puts on this hoodie. She covers her face up with her hair. She's got big baggy clothes on. She covers the kids up. It looked to me like she was trying to hide their identity. We get in her minivan and we head towards Walmart. And before we get there, she says, look, I'm not trying to be mean or bossy, but I need you to not talk to anyone once we go in the store. If anyone approaches you in the store, I want you to ignore them and walk away. Even if you know them, keep ignoring them. I don't want anyone around my kids. And I said, okay. And it was fine because I didn't know anyone in that area anyways. So now I'm doing a double take looking at her because I'm starting to think maybe she's a celebrity, but I don't recognize her from any movies or music. I also wondered if maybe she was wanted by the law. Maybe she was some type of criminal on the run. I didn't know. When we pull into Walmart parking lot, she doesn't pull into a parking space. She circles around the parking lot like 8 or 9 times, like she was looking to see if someone was there before she finally parked. So we get in the store and she makes all 3 kids get in the buggy together and we push them, and we get like 2 minutes deep in the store when she starts acting a little paranoid, like, is that guy staring at us? Did he just walk by us? Did he just come down this aisle? Did you see him? And I said, no, or at least I don't think so. I mean, I weren't paying attention to him because I was watching the kids. Then she says, never mind, I'll just get this stuff later. And she puts a few items back on the shelf, rushes us out the store, and then we leave. So by that Friday, she pays me and says, look, I think you've done a great job. I want you to stick around. You know, I think you'd be a great addition to our family, and I appreciate what you're doing so much. One day the next week, she said, I got to go to town. I'll be right back. Don't unlock that door. Don't let the kids go outside, and don't let anyone in this house. She also showed me where the weapon in the home was, which was in a little lockbox so the kids couldn't get to it, and she gave me the code and said, if anyone comes in that door, you do what you got to do. Protect my kids. And I said, okay. What was weird was Christine never had any visitors. No family, no friends, neighbors, nothing. Nobody ever knocked on that door the whole time I was there. Until she left that house, and I mean within 10 minutes of her pulling out that driveway, I hear a knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? And I'm not going to lie, that did freak me out because I've been there for 28 days or whatever, and no one, not even a delivery driver, has ever come to this house. And then the time this woman pulls out the driveway, here comes a black car with tinted windows and some man knocking on the door. Nope. I did exactly what she said. I took the kids in the bathroom and I called her. I said, hey, somebody's here. Time you left, they pulled up. She said, I'm on my way. So we're in the bathroom and we hear this man and woman yelling, Michael, Christopher, Shania, get out here. We know you're here. These kids huddle up in the corner like they know these people and they're scared of them. So I said, do y'all know them? And they said, no. I said, is that your names? And they said, no. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I leave the kids in the bathroom and I go back to her room because I was going to get her weapon. I looked out the window and I saw a cop get out and he talked to this man and woman. They talked for a few minutes and then the man and woman get back in the car and they leave, and the cop walks up to the house and knocks on the door and asks me if we're okay, and I say yeah. So then Christine pulls up, she runs in the house and gets the kids and hugs them, and then the cop walks in and talks to her in private. I don't know what was said because I weren't in there, but I could tell there was something going on that I wasn't being told. So here's where it gets really weird. Christine says that I can get off early and go home, and she pays me for the rest of the week and says that she's going to call me later that night to let me know what time to be back on Monday morning. So I take my money and go pay some bills, and then I go home and wait for her call. But that call never came. So I call her late that night. She didn't answer. I called her the next morning. She doesn't answer. Then her phone was out of service, like she had it cut off. There was no voicemail or nothing. And I got very concerned. So I went over there Sunday night. But when I got there, it was completely empty. I mean, when I pulled up in that driveway, there was no minivan in the garage. So I went in, there was no furniture, no kids' toys, no clothes, no food, nothing. It was like nobody had ever lived there. There was no trace of this family from 2 days ago. All I could think was maybe that man and woman, they came back and attacked her. I didn't know. I was freaking out. I tried to file a missing person report on her and the kids, but the sheriff's department said no. I asked why, and they said because they had made contact and the family is fine. They just moved away. I said, was she mad at me? Did I do something wrong? He said no. I said, well, can I talk to her? He said no. I said, why not? He said, you just can't, but just know they're okay. My friend Stephanie had a good point. She thinks they were a part of a domestic violence program or in witness protection, you know, with the not knowing their names, not answering the phone, not leaving the house, and hiding their identities. It just all made sense. I think that's why the kids weren't acknowledging the names that I was calling them, because that wasn't their real names. Like every time I'd say Cindy or Bobby, they'd be like, because they didn't know that name. So Christine, if you see this video, just know that I really enjoyed working with you and your kids. I appreciate everything you did for me, and I hope that y'all are safe.